All right, this is the Bowline knot. So just quick terminology before we begin. When I'm looking at a piece of paracord or rope or string, when I'm tying a knot, I always have what's called a working end, which is the end I'm going to be actually working through the loops and twisting around. And then I have a standing end. As you can kind of see, it's just hanging off the edge here. That usually is going to be tied to a tree or tied to the edge of a tarp or something like that. So I'm not going to be actually working this end, but I'm going to be using the working end around the standing end. So just when I say those two words, that's what I mean. Bowline is a fixed end knot, which means I'm going to be tying this around the loop of a tarp, or I'm going to be tying it around a branch or a tree or something that's fixed. So this is going to, just hold on to one fixed point. Usually it's going to be a tarp in our context. So to begin the bowline, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a loop. And as you can see, what's really important about this is that the working end, remember this is my working end, the working end is laying on top of the standing end. Right? We don't want our loop to look like this, where the standing end here is on top, as you can see. No, we want the working end to be on top, just like this in my loop. So you can see the working end is the one that's on top. And to hold this loop, I'm going to just pinch these two ropes. And this is where I would loop around something, a loop around the tarp edge or a tree or something like that. For this example, I'm going to use this coffee mug right here. So I'm just going to loop around the handle of this coffee mug. All right, so now this is what I'm fixing my knot onto. And so now that I'm looped around that, what I want to do is go in through the back of my loop that I made. Not in through the top, but in through the back. And then you see my standing end right here. I'm going to go around behind the standing end, right? Not over the top of the standing end, but around behind the standing end of this line. And then back down through the loop that I came up. And in order to tighten this knot, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pinch these two right here and pull the standing end. And as you can see, our end result is I have a fixed end bowline right here, fixed to my coffee mug. In our context, most often, that's going to be a tarp. So that is the bowline knot.